We're on episode 3 of the Disruptive Love podcast, and I'm David Bennett. And this is Jonathan Bennett. And today we're going to talk about some of the biggest mistakes that guys make when they're hanging out at bars and clubs and interacting with servers and bartenders. Just a reminder, we run the Popular Man men's lifestyle blog, at least that's what we call it, thepopularman.com. And we just started our newest venture, Double Trust Dating, doubletrustdating.com. We've also written 7 books related to dating, relationships, and personal success, so be sure to check those out.
Today we have as our guest Brady, a friend of ours who has many years' experience as a server and bartender at multiple clubs. And we firmly believe that if anyone has a grasp on how humans interact in terms of their raw state, it is someone who witnesses them when they're totally wasted. And kind of horny, because that's the way guys get at times when they drink. And we know Brady is, no, of course not, is smart, articulate, and honest, so she's going to give us a lot of insight into what these creepy, weird guys are doing.
So welcome, Brady.
Thank you for having me.
So here is your chance to share some of your worst stories, to get those off your chest and finally get those out there. So let's just start by asking you, we'll start with the heavy stuff. What are some of the creepiest things a guy has ever said to you?
I don't really know where to start, but I don't know. It's so dirty. I don't even know if I could say it.
Well, you can censor a little bit, but give us an idea, maybe.
We have this. We do have multiple shots have multiple names, and we had this one shot called a wet something, and so it was a group of guys. I was serving them a table. It was actually pretty early in the day, and they just were getting more and more drunk. One of them actually had the guts to ask me, "Can I have yours?" And I just stood there in shock, saying, "No." Just walked right away. But I was serving them, so I did have to come back to that table and then just keep dealing with them.
So how did you just kind of like be extra rude when you went back, or
no? I was just actually kind of shut down, just more quiet, more everything. Just really said, "Can I get you something else?" All right. Was short with the table from then on out.
Well, that's one of the issues with being a server, is you really have to be somewhat nice to these people. Mm-hmm. They're a captive audience. The servers are captive audiences to some of these jerk guests, and I think a lot of people take advantage of that.
So did they have any clue that they said something like that and offended you?
Honestly, I think they might have, because I think the friends were just like, "Well, man, I can't believe you said that." And then later, he never spoke to me one word, like, ever again.
He probably knew at that point that you were giving him the freeze
that
out.
I was not very happy at all.
So that's a pretty gross story. Are there any others that stand out?
So, obviously I'm not like full Caucasian or anything like that, and for some reason, certain Caucasian males like to fetishize me and like my race and like where I come from, and it always comes with always my ex-girlfriends are always been Asian, or my ex-wife's been Asian. You're kind of hot for an Asian girl, like as in like most Asian girls aren't really that attractive, and it's just like, oh, all right.
Isn't that a great way to get to know somebody, make a comment like that?
I can usually just tell by what they usually like, and then how they usually treat women by that comment. Yep.
Yeah, that's always nice, focusing on that aspect when they talk to you as if it's something unique. So is it common so you meet guys, I'm sure you've met guys, you've been friendly to them, and they take an interest in you. Have you ever had guys stalk you and find your social media and add you or message you?
Honestly, yeah, it's actually not that common, but actually sometimes it's a little different. It's usually with me it's normal, like, hey, how are you? What's up? Instead of just a simple pickup line you get from like a social media dating site. But it's guys I've never seen before, or guys usually who have mutual friends with me. Sometimes I will have to approve their follow request or message request. And then there's some that I just don't, and it's left unread. But it's almost usually, you can't really tell who's stalking a profile. But usually from the messages, I'll just consistently get, 5 texts from back to back saying, hey, what's up? How are you? But then there are times where I just get one hey, and then that's it.
That's a great charming opener.
Yeah, you think after two, that after 5 times they get the hint. Do you find that your regulars that you deal with, they're harder to interact with because you almost feel like you have to be nicer to them, and cutting them off is more difficult?
Oh, yeah. Because, I work in the service industry. I'm here for your money. I'm here to take your money. So I have to be nice. So it's a little hard to be mean to, you know, a regular who you know who's genuinely coming from like a good intention, but it can be a little hard because I don't really know how to explain it. It's just hard because, you know, you don't want to break the person's heart. At the same time, you don't want to lead them on and break their heart that way too. But yeah.
Because we know a lot of regulars at places who they go. I mean, a lot of guys and women might not know this, but a lot of these guys go to these places because they do think the waitress probably has something for them. I mean, you think that's a possibility, or you think that's not a possibility?
I've started in multiple places where, yes, it is. I did have a lot of regulars asking me, you know, is Brady working? You know, the one day I'm not, they'll just completely leave, and it's a 20-minute drive, and
Yep.
they'll come back and just ask for me again, and then, you know, consistently leave their numbers on receipts. I've had that. I've had, you know, I text them like, thanks for coming in. I have a boyfriend at the time, blah, blah, blah. They said, oh, no problem. They never come back again.
So waitress says you guys are kind of attuned to the fact they're probably there for some attraction purpose. I see.
They're here solely for my attention, but they get confused with my attention and kindness for actual interest. And instead of, you know, I'm here for your money, you know, like, it's hard to be mean to somebody, you know, especially working in the service industry. And especially if you're naturally a nice person.
Mm-hmm.
It is a little difficult to say like, hey, stop it, knock it off, or it's a little difficult to approach someone, especially if you're regular, who tells you their whole life story, you know, their ex-girlfriends, their troubles at home, you know, you just have to nod and say yes, and then just take that.
So if a guy is, sorry to interrupt you, but so if a guy is taking that as a strategy, he's going to a bar or club on a regular basis, spending a lot of money. We're not trying to run any waitresses racket here or anything, but he's spending a lot of money, thinking he's kind of going to buy the love of a waitress. What would you say to a guy like that?
Well, I would say make sure she's single and interested. You know, make sure you're picking up on social cues, thinking that, yeah, I think she is interested, instead of, you know, just a woman being nice to you. But if you know, you have to keep in mind she is there for money. It's her job. She has to be nice to you. But if an actual waitress or a server or bartender actually interests you, she would look you in the eye, spend more time with you, spend more time talking to you, keep hinting that, like, you know, she's always single or she has nothing to do. Like, oh, all I do is work out, do anything fun. Then casually bring up, oh yeah, I know this like great place we can go, and then it can go from there. But if, you know, she's being short with you, she's, you know, talking to the same table the way she's talking to you to a different table, that's a good clue that she's not interested in you that way. More so that she's just being nice, doing her job, making her money, and just doing that.
That's really good. That brings up an image we saw earlier that we thought was funny, if we could get that up. That really explains in a humorous way why the female cashier is being nice to you. It's not because she's uncontrollably sexually attracted to you. It's because that's literally her job. You know, a lot of guys forget that the server is being paid through customer service to treat you well, cater to your needs, and that doesn't mean she wants you. And I like what you said about the social cues, that there are things that go beyond general friendliness that might indicate that you might be interested in a guy in a different way. But I think the creepiness and the misunderstandings and the need for blocking and maybe even protection orders that comes when they don't read those cues and they think, oh, she smiled and treated me like a nice human being, so oh, she must want to have sex with me. When in reality, she did that because that's her job, and she's probably a pretty good person.
So you probably got a lot of numbers, because we're talking about, you know, guys misreading niceness as a cue of flirting, and there's all kinds of research that shows that is the case. Have you ever done anything with those numbers?
Honestly, I look at them, and then I look right below see how much they tip, and if it's below 20%, just throw it out. But there was maybe like few instances, maybe like 3 or 4, where I actually did take the number into account, because they did tip, I think, over 50%.
Oh wow,
which is, yeah.
Nice.
But I mean, count if you know the tab's $5, they tip you 10. You know, it's still nice, but I think over tipping always is a good chance. But at that point, he's like, oh, like, hey, thanks for the tip. No, come back anytime soon. And then from then on, he just kind of did small talk, small conversations, and I was just instantly just bored, trash the number.
So it's not really an effect. It's not really. It's not really that effective for you, but has it worked for? Have you ever seen it work for other servers or bartenders?
I don't think I have. It's
Wow.
Yeah, I honestly really don't think I have. No.
So guys watching this, you need to make an amazing impression, I
Yeah.
guess, to probably get a date or a relationship from leaving a server a number is kind of the lesson here.
And we've often said that if you really want to find if someone's interested, get her number rather than giving her yours. Just leaving a number behind when you don't read the cues and have no idea if that person even likes you is not even effective anyway.
So have you, and this kind of brings us to a question that, and we have a friend who was dating a bartender for a while, and she said, don't kind of let it on that I'm dating you because my tips go down when I have a boyfriend. Have you ever noticed that?
Yeah. I try to, not necessarily avoid it, saying like, no, I don't have a boyfriend when I actually really do. As I try to avoid like topics that involve relationships, so I don't have to answer the question. If some guy does say or ask like, hey, are you single? Can I take you out? And either I'm actually like really busy with work and school, maybe like another time I'm just not in that situation, or just like straight up honest, I'll have a boyfriend, and then I have seen tips decline down because of that. And so, it sounds awful to say because, like you have to be loyal to your relationship, whatever, but it's, if you just sit down with them, talk to them, they'll probably understand, like, you need to make your money somehow. And I'm not saying, like, flirt outright with these guys, that's actually really bad. But if you just, like what I do, just ignore the topic, try to stay away from it, and then try to leave this course on, do your best. But if not, I don't know to say. It's a little hard to explain.
Well, I think it's perfectly fair. If they're going to spend that money in some way, they might as well give it to you, and you might as well do your job as best as possible and make money.
But our view is, if the guys want to give up their money, that's their thing.
Yeah.
Guys need to probably be a little more. We tip big usually because we just like giving money to people who do a good job. I think if a guy is giving you money based on some sort of hidden agenda,
That's his problem.
That's his problem, really. So we're not trying to run any server's way of making money here. That's for sure.
No.
So you've been a server, bartender for a while. Have you seen any particularly sad like interactions with the guys have like tried to hit on a girl or something like that and
Where they
failed
were
miserably?
shot down, or not just a server, but even a patron.
It's a little hard because like I mind my own tables, but like when like the dinner rush is all done, us girls would come talk to each other saying, oh, this guy's giving me his number, this guy is doing something stupid or whatever. And I did have a girl tell me, though this guy wanted her number, blah, blah, blah. And she said, no, I have a boyfriend who's actually conveniently was in the restaurant too. And he says, the person who's asking for a number says, no, that really doesn't matter to me. Who really cares? And she just like, walks away. And her boyfriend was actually, how do I say this, like a manager of some sort.
Yeah.
And he says, comes over to the table, is everyone okay? How's everyone doing? And is so and so treating you right, the server? And they're like, yeah. And then I think I walked away after that, and I think the table was like pretty embarrassed. Like she went over there to take care of the table, whatever. And from then on, she said those guys did not say one word to her after that, and that was it.
So if a girl says, I have a boyfriend, either take it as a truth or at least a sign that she's not interested at that point.
I would say like leave her alone. Let her be in a relationship, all happy. Just leave her alone. But it's funny because we always think it's guys doing this, and then it's funny because I actually had like a female at one point, and that female was the first person out of all the persons like interested in me, saying, look, I have a boyfriend that stopped their advances. It was a girl that did not stop.
Interesting. Interesting.
It was very interesting. And she said, they don't have to know, blah, 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 blah. At least you should ask him if he's like interested in another person in joining you. And so it was just the type of people you run into every day trying to like come at you when you're a server and just try to work is just amazing to me. It's something else, yeah.
And I'm sure too, a lot of the people are pretty good people overall, but when you add in the alcohol, they get maybe a little bit overly weird, and maybe some of their thoughts they never say come out. That's why I'd have to. I think it'd be difficult putting up with that. Yes.
So have you ever had to because I know we talked about, let's go back a little bit to the randomly messaging you. I was kind of wondering, one of the questions I had back when we were discussing that was, what is like your and your friend's impression when you get a totally out of the blue random message from someone you don't know?
Or even an out of the blue request for a date while you're serving?
It's usually just like, while I'm serving, I'm just here to serve. Like, stop asking me personal questions. I need to get, ranch sauce to this table. I need to get going, talk to you later maybe. And then when it finally slows down, it's change the subject, literally completely ignore it. That's what I try to do. Just ignore the fact that you asked me on a date. In terms of direct messaging it, like I don't want to sound like pretentious or anything, but it's like I get a few of those. So it's just easily just delete so I can trash it. Or if it's just like I've had, messages that say like, oh, I would love to take you out. Yeah, I feel bad, but I just delete the message instantly. And it's just hard to turn down someone who does mean well, but then I remember like, you would be a bad person if you led this person on through the internet. It's gonna look bad, you're gonna feel bad. But in terms of like actually like making like horrendous direct messages or messages online, I know I'm not like the most beautiful girl on the internet. There are way more women out there who get, absolutely absurd messages, like pictures of things we don't want, like messages of things we don't want, like saying like what they want to do to us online. It is just absolutely ridiculous. And that's when like we have to say like, that's when we have to block. That's when we have to say like, leave us alone. The only instance where I had to block people is when they just don't get the hint that I'm not interested. I won't reply. There's currently messages in my phone right now for 2 years of straight, hey, what's up? And it's just, at some point, like I do feel bad for blocking them because they're not actually harassing me. But, like at some point it's like, get the hint,
Yeah, at some point you gotta read a social cue and say, you know what, maybe she's not interested in me.
Yeah.
After about I'd say the second hey, probably.
So let me ask you this. So we're going to keep this probably PG, but you've probably gotten random male junk pics, I'm assuming.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
absolutely. And I mean, why? I think a lot of guys, for some reason, think that's some sort of an effective strategy of getting a girl's attention.
Because a lot of them do it, even though everyone says it's stupid. Every girl I've ever talked to hates it.
So give us the definitive answer from a woman, what the female opinion is on getting a random picture like that.
At first thought is ew. Ew. It's not good looking, It sounds a little weird, but it's, most guys don't take it from a good angle. Not, how we take pictures of our faces, there's not always flattering angles to your faces. They just don't know that. And then, half the time is I show it to my friends. Other girls show it to their friends. They just laugh and giggle and point at it. And then we say, I usually don't block the person. So what I usually do is, though, if they're going to be a jerk and send me this when I didn't ask for it, I'll be a jerk right back saying, just type in all caps, ha ha ha, what is that? And, hopefully they won't do that again to another poor girl, because then you're like, oh, wow, I shouldn't say that or send that to anybody because I'm just going to get made fun of, But some guys don't learn. Some guys, they just keep doing it, and hopefully to attract, a female that's hoping to give them the time of day when they are just picking up in the wrong way.
Yeah, we think that has like a 0% success rate.
Yeah, I mean, I've never heard any relationship that started and said he sent me a dick pic and I fell in love.
Yeah.
I mean, usually everything we've heard
Does
has
that go on
been-
the wedding display board?
Yes, I would hope not. I just hope it's a good angle, right?
Yeah.
But everything we've heard is that they just laugh at it, they block them, they hate it, and so that's the definitive word, guys. Is that you're drunk and horny and thinking of doing that, you're just going to kill your chances of any success.
But I think why guys do it is some woman did a thing on Bumble where she just had enough of getting these pics, and so she sent her pictures, junk pictures of hers. I don't know what they junk, whatever term we use, to all these guys. And what's funny is like every guy, like out of 37 guys, I think 36 were like, "Oh, that's great, thanks. I really appreciate you sending that." So you can clearly see men and women think a little differently maybe in that area.
I would say the only time a picture is probably appropriate if it's when you define what those two people are. You know, if they're not exclusive but they are still together, or they dating or married, you know, then send whatever you want. But if it's just like you've had two conversations or 2 days knowing each other and all of a sudden it pops up on your phone, I don't want to talk to this person anymore. He's a weirdo. Like, how many times has he done this to other girls, you know? It's just almost basically a whole turn on to me.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's not so it's not a very good greeting to give one of those pictures.
No.
So, you know, you've seen, we've kind of talked about this a little bit, I think, already, but you've seen a lot of guys hit on servers, a lot of guys try to date servers. So what are some of the big, if a guy's, let's say he's going to these bars regularly, he's got his favorite server, he's going to the table, he's giving her big tips, he's probably fallen in love with her. What would you recommend he do if he really thought he had a chance and wanted to meet that woman?
Well, I would say if, you know, he thinks he's picked up on these social cues that the girl is interested, or he knows that this girl is single, and you know that this girl's, you know, treating him different, way different compared to, you know, other tables, then what I would do is I would ask them, like, what do you do as a hobby? What do you do on when you're not working? And she says, oh, I like to run in the park or work out, or I like to go see new movies. Just casually say, like, oh, there's a new movie coming out. I have no one to see it with. You want to see it with me? Or, you know, nowadays girls love food, so you can always ask, you know, like, hey, I found this really new cool food truck or pizza spot or whatever, and always, like, find out what she likes first, and then always, like, you know, try to incorporate that when you're trying to ask her out. And if she says no, then she says no. I would absolutely still tip her, you know, good, just because you are, like, a little hurt that she said no to you. But other than that, she does mean well, though. She doesn't, I'm sure, like, you know, if you tip big or she's treating you different, you know, she actually is interested in you, she will say yes. But if she says no, then just leave it as that. Still tip big. But for me, if, you know, if I turn a guy down and he's all sad and he's probably embarrassed or too embarrassed to come back to the place, I would say just come back. Like, I'm not, you know, like a childish person where I'm just going to treat you differently just because, you know, you asked me on a date and I turned you down. It's just, I'm not interested in you in that way. I still think you're a cool person. So and plus, you know, I date guys where I wasn't initially attracted to at first. I was not interested. I did not want to keep going on these dates. But he was very persistent. So if anything, if you still really like this girl, even though she turns you down, and just keep going to her, keep trying, and eventually she might. She just, you know, we have our own lives outside of a restaurant, and we have bills to pay. We're probably stressed out about school, jobs, children, or family, whatever. We're probably just in a bad mindset. I would just keep trying. Even if she says no, but if she's very adamant, she's not attracted to you, then just stop. I would just stop then.
So in terms of, so you got a guy who comes in let's say every 3 days, he likes you, you can tell it, but never says anything for a year. Would you have more respect for the guy that actually comes out and says it, puts it on the table in a non-creepy way, or would you rather him just not say it?
You know, like, I don't know what me, but I can. I don't know about other girls. I can pick up, you know, when a guy's usually pretty interested.
Yeah.
Usually then it's a little weird because then I'll start getting, you know, kind of weird. I won't really talk to them very much. So it's a little different, but, you know, if I, like, or another girl says, you know, giving you, like, signals saying, like, yeah, I am interested, then I would just say it outright. Because you never know, like, someone's, you know, what if this server actually really likes you. But it's a little different because you don't really know everyone's intentions. You don't know everyone's feelings. Every server is different, you know. a server might be gay, but she's single. She doesn't want to say that out loud because, what are your views on, gay marriage or homosexuality? There is so many factors where she just doesn't want to put out there. I don't really know. It is a little hard to explain, but
no, I think you're doing a great job. We're just kind of trying to get the inside scoop because we know a lot of. I mean, we know a lot of guys, don't we? Who literally they're like they think their ticket to a date is a server, and we do sometimes tell them we're like, I don't think the relationship that you have with this server is romantic. I think it's just a really cool person serving you on a regular
Well, and for a
basis.
lot of people, the customer service person might be the only social interaction they have in a given day, and with serving, you're a captive audience and you're being nice to them. And for a guy who's been lonely for a long time, he might think, wow, someone actually listens to me. She laughs at my jokes, maybe pretends to. So those feelings develop, and then next thing you know, you have someone being creepy with you. Unfair to the server, but the guy probably thinks he's hit the jackpot.
And it's the way I really actually view it. If you look at like a restaurant where like a Hooters or a Tilted Kill, these women are dressed very provocatively. People are going to think, well, clearly this girl working here is going to flirt and act very friendly and happy around this man who's coming to pay her to give him wings and like friendliness and whatever. But in other restaurants where bartenders, servers, we have our uniform or we're dressed more modestly, it's no different. Just because we're dressed modestly, doesn't mean we're like wanting like a natural relationship with you. It's just the same thing as like a Hooters. We just are just dressed normally, but somehow guys completely forget that we are still being paid to be nice to you, just like a Hooters girl. But it's just like I said, it's just hard to explain to some people that we are literally just trying to take your money, no matter how hard or slim or full we are dressed. We are here to take your money, and if we're interested, we'll give you social cues, or even better, when we drop off the check and we'll never see you again as soon as you tip, we'll give you our number. How about, and that's that.
That's awesome. We had a Tilted Kilt store. We went in there because of the food fully.
Yeah,
but
only
the chicken wings there are amazing. But
I don't think they even.
But
they do serve.
Of course they do. Remember, we love them. But there was a guy in there he was sitting at a table boxing up presents for all of the waitresses. He had gotten them all teddy bears and written cards for them, and the vibe we got, of course, was this is super creepy. He probably thought he was being this nice, generous guy, but really it just came across as weird. So even at a place like that, I think guys get confused about why the women are there. I think he thought they actually loved him in some capacity, and I'm sure they took those gifts he got him and burned them as soon as they could. But
actually, it's a funny story because I actually did eat at Tilted Kilt when it was still open, because they show the UFC fights, they show really big fights, and it's packed and it's amazing there. And then I was sitting at a table with one of my girlfriends, and I look over and I see this guy who has a big fat binder, and then I was like, what is that? What is he reading at this restaurant? And his server comes in. Apparently he's a regular there, and apparently and conveniently that server was our server too. I asked her like, oh, what's that book you keep looking at, blah blah blah. She said, oh, this guy, he likes to take our pictures and put it in a binder. And I was, wow, like you guys really like let him do that, and they said like, yeah, he pays us for it.
wow.
So I mean, like, that's why it's also hard to think, because some women are actually wanting, they don't care what they need to do to get money, and if it's this guy who's like, if he has enough money to throw around, then do it. And if that woman wants his money, he's doing whatever she wants to do to get that money, and it's fine. I'm not one to judge. No one here should judge, like around, the world should judge, but it's just a little different that it's this guy, he just had this binder dedicated to these server girls that are half naked, being paid to pay attention to him.
And plus, it's a binder. I mean, hadn't he ever heard of the computer? I mean, this is the
yeah, it was a binder.
cloud storage.
I would never judge a woman for that either, but I would say before you touch that binder, put on gloves.
Yeah.
That advice for anybody.
So the question I kind of have is, so do you? We've heard some women say, you cannot flirt with any waitress because they're there to work. And I do agree. I mean, I think it can make a woman uncomfortable. But would you say that's the hard limit? Like you can't flirt at all in your view, or you just got to make sure you don't cross that line to outright like harassment and creepiness?
Oh no, you can definitely flirt. The server could be single, straight, very interested. She can find you attractive, whatever. But like as soon as you keep flirting, and she's giving you social cues that she is not like it. She's not interested in you. Stop flirting, without saying stop flirting me.
Yeah.
Then I would just probably calmly just start saying, you know what, I just need a water. That's it. I just need the check. That's it. And just tip her nicely, and she'll probably just forgive you. Just forget.
So guys can kind of try a little bit, see what if a guy's interested, see what happens. Try. If he starts getting cues, and that's what you say a lot is social cues, and that's what I think we've noticed a lot of guys tend to miss. And the research is that guys tend to be worse at reading social cues, unfortunately.
And the lesson seems to be too that if you are a bit of a weirdo and you fail a little bit, a tip will help make up for that.
Yeah.
That's good advice right there too for guys who might feel ashamed at being rejected or say something stupid. Make up for it with money, because that's why servers are there.
And I think guys need to always remember, and we'll put this out there, is always tip. Don't use the tip as a tool. If she says no, don't not tip.
Yeah, don't use it as a punishment.
Because that's jerk behavior.
It is.
And I'm not saying like, money's like everything. You have to, spend your whole bank account just to get this girl to go on a date with you. But it's like, that's what we are here for. We get paid, minimum wage is $3 an hour. So if we're working 6-hour shifts, we're not working there to make $3. We're working there to make other people's money. But, if this server is very interested in you, and then, you're interested in her, and she likes you, she leave down her number, and she texts you back, and if you tip, $3 on a $50 check, there's a good chance she will not text you back, even though she's, very about you, very, attracted. She's very, like, I'll see where this goes. But,
we need to check our receipts to make sure we tipped you properly. I hope we did.
But it says a lot about a person, though, their generosity or stinginess. So, it is much bigger than just buying love from someone. It tells a lot about you how you tip, especially if you don't tip. It says a lot.
Most servers, we have this thing called server karma. When we, on our days off, we go out to eat, we go out to a bar, we tip more than 20%, so that it comes back on us. So, if I want to go out and date with this guy, and even though he tipped $3 on 50, what's going to happen when he takes me on this date to a restaurant and he tips that server very bad? It's also going to look bad on me. Like, I'm with this asshole who's tipping $3 on $100.
Or he might tell you have to order water and you can only order off the appetizer menu.
We were raised, I remember growing up, we were raised, our dad is a great tipper. He's like 30 to 50% tip usually.
Yes.
And I know even like going through Tim Hortons, the drive-through, if he pays with cash, he'll give $5 tip. So we've always judged actually a person's character by how they tip, to be honest. So I think that's a great thing. I think guys you can never go wrong being generous.
It shows you're a generous person and even has extra money to throw around. And if she goes out with you, she knows she's not going to be limited to water and an appetizer.
But tip based on tipping, not as a way to try to buy someone's love or affection. But so we're going to have to wrap up here. But have you any final thoughts or tips, or no pun intended, any tips or ideas for based on what you've seen in your years of experience in here that you can just tell guys that they might want to consider when either maybe even hitting on a server or trying to get to date a server, or even other people in the bar, other women?
The only thing I can say is don't just leave down your number and that's it. She's not going to, write it down. We see 100 receipts every shift. And if you are interested in this girl, try to flirt with her. And she's interested, she's picking up these social cues that she's interested. Then, go in for it. Leave your number or ask for her number or whatever, and she will. But if she's not, she will let you know. She'll be very short with you. Or if anything, pick up a book and read, Social Cues of Women. Not
we have
you or
books available and websites available.
That's
Check
right.
them out.
We had the social cue angle covered, and then now she gave you the tips to actually deal with servers, so it works out well.
Well, we appreciate you coming on, Brady, and I'm really glad when we asked your creepiest experience, it didn't involve two twins you met one night having dinner. So we just want to make sure. So it's great to have you on. We really appreciate your insight, and we want to thank everybody for listening, and be sure to check out our next episode as it comes out.